So we're doing exercise 5G, and in this video I'll be answering question 1a, which says for each of the following find the inverse function, and state its domain and range. And as you can see here, we've been given a set of ordered pairs, and this is our function. So what I've done is just rewritten it down here, and I'm going to denote it with the letter F. Now the question doesn't ask us to do this, but I'm actually going to find my domain of F. And as we all know, my domain is simply my set of all the x values. So it will be 1, it will be -2, it will be 4, and it will be 7. So I could come here and I could write those all down: 1, -2, 4, and 7. Then I can write down my range of F. And my range will be the set of all the y values. So in this case it will be 3 and 6 and 5 and 1. So I can write those down: 3 and 6 and 5 and 1. Okay, now what the question is asking us to do is find our inverse function. And the way that we're going to do this is simply by, let me do my fancy bracket first. We're going to be swapping our x and our y. We're going to swap them. So instead of having 1, 3, we're going to have 3, 1, close bracket. Then the next one, instead of having -2, 6, we're going to swap these around. So we'll have 6, -2. And we'll just keep on doing that. So instead of 4, 5, we have 5, 4. And lastly, instead of 7, 1, we have 1, 7. And now that is our inverse function. So that's the first part that the question is asking us, so the inverse function. And the next part is finding the domain of the inverse function. And again, to do this, we're simply going to be looking at our x values. So 3, 6, 5, and 1. So it will be, fancy brackets, 3, 6, 5, and 1. Then the range for my inverse function will be all my y values. So it'll be 1, -2, 4, and 7. 1, -2, 4, and 7. Now, so that would be your answer. The inverse function, the domain, and the range. But the reason why I spent some more time figuring out my domain and range for the function is so that you could see something. And that is the fact that my domain of f is the same as the range of the inverse function, 1, -2, 4, 7. 1, -2, 4, 7. And the range of my function is the same as the domain of the inverse of the function, 3, 6, 5, 1, 3, 6, 5, 1. And this allows us to appreciate a very important rule, which is the fact that the domain of the inverse function equals the range of the function, and the range of the inverse function will equal the domain of the function. So that's really going to be helpful as we go on to more difficult questions, but hopefully this enabled you to answer 1A from exercise 5G.